Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brewer's Apothecary. And so glad that you could join us today out on a little bit of a walk and have come across this plant and wanted to stop and talk about it here for just a few moments. And then in a few moments, I'm going to take probably at the end of the video and just kind of pan around and show you the diversity of this little area that I am. So many medicinal plants just in this one little area. So absolutely fantastic. But out on a beautiful early August summer day and a little warm here in southeast Michigan, but on a little walk. And again, I've come across this plant. Some of you may already recognize it, and some of you may not, and that's perfectly okay, because today we're going to learn about boneset. And that is what this plant is. Boneset, also known as Eupatorium perfoliatum. And this is found commonly in eastern United States and also in Canada. And I will tell you that I'm in a suburban area, so if you do hear either ambulances or emergency vehicles behind me, that is because we're very close. But again, it just lends to the diversity of this little bit of area. But also, I live close to a little, well, it's not little, it's actually a medium-sized international airport, but you'll hear planes flying over too. But again, back to the boneset. Can be found in eastern United States and also Canada, and it does prefer wet, swampy areas. And as I pan around here in a few moments, you will see I'm actually in a wet, swampy area, but also marshes, stream banks, wet meadows. It does prefer full sun or at least partial shade. Now, it will grow anywhere from 2 to 4 feet, can be larger, and you'll see here in a moment I will show you another one of these plants that's growing, but it's a little smaller. But you will see that it will begin to develop these little small white to pink, pale pink colored flower, and they will be on top of a flat top cluster, also known as umbels. Now, also the leaves are very noticeable, and you can see just look how close that they do get up to the stem. So they go all the way to the top, and you can see here it does have a hairy stem. And again, those leaves do make it a little easy because look at the texture to identify. Okay, so this will be something that you can easily identify. Just take a few moments and kind of look. But again, this does have a long history of traditional and herbal medicinal uses. When we talk about what parts that you're actually going to use for this plant, we're going to use either the blooms and the leaves. Typically, these are harvested in late summer to early fall when it is in full bloom. That is going to be the best time, in my opinion, to harvest this for use. Now, when we talk about the benefits, and there are many, so let's start. We'll talk about first, it was fever. This was many times used for the aid to reduce fevers. Boneset, historically, this plant was used for treating break bone fever, also known as dengue fever. And this was due to the severe bone pain that was associated with that illness. So just absolutely fascinating, going all the way back and even helping to treat that. Boneset being used to treat break bone fever. As you would imagine, it's also an immune booster, so great for the immune system. Also anti-inflammatory properties. So when we talk about individuals suffering with arthritis or even maybe some small skin irritations or some inflammation there on the skin, this would be an ideal plant for those. Again, so the anti-inflammatory properties, also is considered to be a diaphoretic. And for those that know, a diaphoretic is considered to be a plant that induces sweating. So it causes the body to sweat, and that also helps to break that fever. But also when we're talking about the importance of a fever and the sweating process, because through that process will actually help to detoxify the body, and that's very important. That is the body's reaction. That's what it's doing through that sweating process, is helping to to eliminate toxins throughout our bodies. So again, a diaphoretic, and then also is considered to be a mild laxative. Now, when we talk about uses, this can be used as a tea. When we talk about using it as a tea, you will again use the dried leaves and also the flowers. Dried leaves and the flowers. And you will take 1 to 2 teaspoons. You will steep those in hot water, typically for 10 to 15 minutes. And remember, when we are doing this, when we're steeping, we want to make sure that we are covering that so that when it steeps, all those essential oils or anything else that may be trying to escape, as that cools down, we can just simply go back into the tea and stir in to use that. So we're not losing any of those beneficial essential oils. And so again, you can steep that. Use this up to 3 times a day. Also can be used as a tincture. You would use, and in my opinion, the best would be the alcohol. You would take the dried herb. In this instance, I would suggest either using vodka or a brandy. And you would put this in a jar, cover it with the alcohol, leave it for about 6 weeks. About once a week, and you will just kind of shake that up so that it stirs it around a little bit. After the 6 weeks, you can take it out and you can strain it off and then store it for further use. When we talk about using, you take typically 1 to 2 milliliters 3 times a day. So if you are unfamiliar with dosage, you can always research and find that so that it's even applicable to your weight, all those things, so that you make sure that you're getting the appropriate dosage. This can also be used, and this blows my mind, but also can be used as a compress. And you're saying, how in the world do you use this as a compress? Well, the process that you would do, you would take the dried leaves and the dried flowers, take and put them into a container, and then pour over them hot water. Now you're going to allow this to steep, and we're going to make a large pot of tea. Yes. And so through that steeping process to make a tea. Once we have steeped that, and you'll notice that it will change a color, so you'll know. But leave it for a good period of time, several hours you'll want to take. Once that is done, you can take and then strain it off. Then take that liquid, and then you can use a sanitized cloth, dip it into, let it soak up, and then you can take and you can apply that to those areas where you are having inflammation, or maybe there's a skin irritation, and you can leave that, and so that you're getting the benefits of those compounds as they're drawn out of a tea. And instead of having to take it internally, you can actually use it in that fashion externally. Now, I will say that this plant is generally safe in small quantities to consume. However, I will say that if consumed in high doses, in high quantities, you may find yourself having some issues with nausea and also vomiting. So just be mindful of that. If you've never taken it before, always use precautions. Take little at a time so that you see how that you are personally going to react, and then use your judgment going forward to determine how you will administer from that point. But again, just an absolute fascinating plant. And again, this is just growing out on a little bit of a hike. And I told you I'm going to pan around and I'm going to show you, because there is one other smaller plant, and you'll see here growing. It's a small plant. Now let's look at all the diversity that we have here. We have down here, look, we have Queen Anne's lace, and we have a video coming about this one. We have milkweed. Milkweed, and look at those beautiful pods. And did you know that those pods are actually edible? Actually taste like okra. People will ever even take, and look down here at our little friend. Hello, little friend. How amazing. And look, just the diversity in this area. And then if we pan over, and look here, we have cattails growing, and then look, we even have some jewelweed back here as well. So again, this little area, such a diverse, all of these things found. But again, our main focus today has been on this guy, Boneset. Well, friends, I hope that you've learned something here today. I hope that you've been intrigued. I hope this is maybe something that you can take and add to your arsenal of home remedies. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care, and until next time, bye-bye.